Everybody needs her. That's right. When you can find that child care center, when you can find that individual to provide very good daycare, is another way that is probably not the way that is encompassing enough to say. You just hope you find someone like Nicole, and you hope you're able to hang on to somebody like Nicole. Nicole Flick is our guest. She is someone who runs a child care facility. Nicole, explain that to people. Where is it at?
My center is located in Dilworth, Minnesota. We serve infants to age 8, and we're licensed for 175 children.
Okay, that's a lot. 175 kids is a lot. The National A Day Without Childcare. Describe to people what this is.
So originally the National Day was for us to go on strike and close our childcare centers. But in Minnesota, we knew we didn't want to do that because we've been doing that for the last 2 years through the pandemic. So in Minnesota, we decided to get little buttons made for all of our parents that say, I wouldn't be here without my childcare center. And then they wear them to work. So it kind of spreads the word. And we're also wearing purple in honor of childcare. And my teachers are wearing buttons that say, if I didn't go to work in childcare, parents couldn't get to work either. So that's kind of the awareness we're just spreading today.
So you are getting word out, though, and it is, and I really appreciate you coming on here so that we can help get word out, and you giving your time as busy as what you are. Where's the problem? I mean, you're running a profession, and you're a professional. How did we get to where the provider isn't there for the demand?
There's just not enough profit margins in childcare. With the amount of people, I employ 50 employees, and over 75% of my gross income goes to their wages. In any typical industry, the payroll doesn't exceed 20%. But in childcare, it's 75%. And that's where the discrepancy lies. So the industry itself is based on a broken business model. And so there is no money to be made in childcare. So the people like me who do this, we don't do it for the money, we do it for the children and the parents that we serve. But now we've reached this point where we can't get employees. And so we have to close classrooms or downsize. And in the industry, we have to have kids in order to pay our staff. So we're losing money here, and we're drowning quickly. So we need the surplus that Minnesota has. We need those funds to keep us going. And we need to be able to pay our teachers what they're worth and offer benefits, because right now we can't do that in the system we have.
Nicole, this by no means is meant to compare to your child care facility. I just know what my daughters went through back when their kids were, before their kids got into the first grade and beyond. And of course, they still go to child care centers, before, my daughter and my son-in-law can come back and pick them up. So there's still the need. I get that. But the average cost, I think, for them was, I just want to say around $1,000, if I recall. If each child is $12,000 for the year, how can it be short if you have a large number of kids? I mean, I'm just trying to run the numbers in my head. I know it's short, and I know it doesn't meet the demand. But what can parents expect in the future, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
If we don't receive federal or state funding, they can expect higher tuition. So right now we're all seeing the inflation. So I buy food, I have rent, I have overhead, utilities, things that I have to pay before I can even pay myself. So really, if we're not funded, right now parents in Minnesota are paying 11% of their income on childcare. And you're right, that's $12,000 a year for an infant. The in-state tuition for NDSU is $10,000 a year. So it's more than college.
Right.
And so we need this funding so we can maintain our tuition rates, so that we need to be subsidized by the state or the federal government so that parents don't have to pay so much money.
So you look at it, and you said you had 50 employees, and 75% of your overhead goes to the employees. That's a lot. That, you
Yep.
know, I've managed companies for a long time. If I had to live on that margin, I couldn't do it.
Right.
And yet you're not able to find enough employees. Why?
Because that 75% is paying them at like $13 an hour.
Okay. So then it totally makes sense that you can't find enough employees. How do we fix that? I know you're looking for the state of Minnesota to use some of that surplus to recognize the need, but, you know, long term, Minnesota isn't always going to have a surplus. They're not always going to be able to do what you're proposing they do. So how do we fix this on a long-term basis?
So long term, we need the state and the federal government to invest in childcare, and they're already doing it. They just need to continue doing it. Right now, Minnesota is sending us monthly stabilization checks, and those are going straight to my employees to offer them higher wages. But it's not enough, because I'm across the street from the Dilworth Walmart, and they have a little sign out there that says starting at like $17, $18 an hour. And I can't compete with that on my margins. So you can go into the grocery store and they're charging you $1 more for a gallon of milk. But if I charge $5 more a week, parents can't afford that, and they're going to choose to stay home, and they're going to come out of the workforce. So if you don't invest in childcare, you're losing your economic backbone. Yeah. And your employment, the people who want to work. So they shouldn't have to choose between staying home and their career. They should be able to have both.
Well, and that's
whatever they want to do.
That's one of the big arguments post-COVID, is that many women have left the workforce. And I don't know how you fix that either. But you compare to Walmart, what you're seeing across the street, the $17, $18 an hour. It's still a different skill set. I mean, to me, and with no, you know, I am not trying to say anything bad about a Walmart employee. What they do is they do well, but what you do is so different. I mean, that's a hard thing, going into a daycare center and providing that type of service. It has to be hard to find, Nicole.
I mean, I have people that work for me that have bachelor's degrees that only make like $15 an hour. So people aren't going into the profession because they're not going to get paid enough in the long run. So the workforce for us is almost nothing, or we're a stepping stone until they can get to the public school or the federally funded Head Start. So we're just a stepping stone. I hire a lot of college students. I have very few full-time employees, and children need the consistency of full-time employees, but we can't offer that because there is nobody who wants to work for low wages and no benefits.
Yeah. What about everybody when they're short of employees and they're trying to find a way to keep those doors open? They look for younger employees or they look for older employees. Are you able to utilize any high school kids on a part-time basis? Are you able to use any senior citizens? I mean, you know, is that something that you have to rely on to keep your doors open?
Yes. So we post in the college boards. We do the high school. I do have some college students that work for me. They're really great. They can only work after school. So they do like 4 to 6 in the evening. It doesn't help me during the day. We have not very many older people want to work because we're a huge germ zone right now, and that's not safe for them. So we have that issue going for us too. But it's a lot of work, and it takes a very special person, and there's a lot of rules and training that's involved before you can even step foot in a classroom. So a lot of people don't even get past the orientation point because it's just too much all at once. But we have certain rules that we have to follow because we're licensed by the state. So they have to have some college education. You know, they have to have experience in childcare. So we're kind of hindered by the regulations at this point to get people in the door.
I don't doubt that. And here's the other part, that the parents that pull up and bring that little one into you. I've been there. I've done that. I've seen my kids be there and do that. I don't think anyone can be more appreciative. I mean, you walk in and you give people a chance at their career and a family at the same time. And so when you're trying to get Minnesota's attention, you know, for those individuals that say, look, this excess money should be a one-time purchase, roads, bridges, the things you got to do one time versus, hey, a continual investment. The continual investment means you have a workforce. And so hopefully you got their attention.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Nicole, I could do this all day. Thank you. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for bringing it to everyone's attention.
Awesome. We are rallying this afternoon at 5:15 to 6:15. We'll have signs. We're standing on 40th Avenue South and 8th Street in Moorhead, 8th Street and Main Avenue in Moorhead, and then 34th Street and Highway 10 in Moorhead is where I will be with all of my staff. And we'll be holding signs, rain or shine, because childcare providers are there for you, rain or shine.
That's a great way of putting it. Nicole, always good to visit. Thank you for giving us your time.